Okay, welcome to this tutorial. In this video, we're going to show you how to get set up with CodeSpring MCP and integrate it directly into Cursor. It's a pretty basic and simple thing to do. And for this video, essentially what I'm going to show you is how we can pull in our project data, everything that we've planned inside CodeSpring, and pull it directly into our Cursor project. I'll give you a bit of information on how we can go from our Codebase into CodeSpring as well. But it's very basic. It just requires you copying one single prompt. So if we come down here into the toolbar at the bottom of your page, you can see it says Save, Auto Layout, and MCP. If you click MCP, it says Integrate CodeSpring. So all we need to do is, first of all, click on Generate Key. It's going to generate us an API key. Now make sure nobody ever sees this API key, and make sure you never share this API key. Anybody who has access to this API key and the MCP can go ahead and read all of your project data. So keep it safe, keep it secure. And this just basically means that essentially CodeSpring can send data or share data with any tool that you integrate the MCP with, and it basically just means it's all private, and only your account is going to be shared with. Only Cursor can read your account's data. Then you go ahead and you choose your client. So in this case, we're using Cursor. We've got various other ones. You can do root, Klein, custom. We are adding more availability. So at the moment, I think it would work with Claude Code. But it doesn't work with Codex. We are adding in more availability as we go. So if you have any requests, if it's not working, please do send us an email at support@codespring.app, and we'll go ahead and make sure it works for whichever tool you're using. First of all, give it a go. It may work. Lots of MCPs will work, even if they're not listed here. You can just write the name here, and you could put, for example, Windsurf, and it should, it should work for you. So we're going to go with Cursor, and we're just going to copy this command here. Now, depending on how experienced you are with tools like Terminal, you have two options. The first one is you can just come into the chat, and this is what I recommend for most people who are beginners. Come into your Cursor chat, and by the way, if you're using Cursor and it seems a little bit confusing, a little bit terrifying because you have to look at all of the code, you can use CodeSpring with Lovable. It will integrate using the MCP with Lovable, and I recommend you use Lovable if you're a little bit scared by Cursor. So all we need to do is come into the chat, and there's a tutorial that shows you how to integrate the MCP for Lovable as well. So come into here, and we're just going to say, please install this MCP. And all we do is paste in that URL from earlier, and we just hit enter. What this is going to do is basically, this is a command which you can also run in Terminal. So while that's loading, I'll show you how to do that as well. You come up to the Terminal on the top of your screen here, and then click on New Terminal. And essentially it brings up these terminals like this, and all we can do is basically paste in that same URL into the terminal. Now you'll see here that the Cursor chat has done the same thing. It's auto-run the same command. It's just taken this command here, which is exactly what we've pasted here, and you can see it's given us these results. And then over here, you can see we now have in the Tools and MCP section inside Cursor Settings. So if you look in the middle where my mouse is, Tools and MCP, CodeSpring MCP has now appeared. So there's 13 tools, there's 5 prompts, and 8 resources enabled. You can click on that, and you can have a look at what these things are. So essentially, what this basically means is Cursor can now do 13 things, 13 different tools. So you can see here it can list all of your workspaces, and I'll show you an example of that in a second, but essentially workspaces are these things here. So if you're on the Pro plan, you will be only on the personal workspace. If you're on the business plan, you'll obviously have an organization where you can invite your team members to work with you as well. So CodeSpring can send data from either workspace to Cursor. Cursor can read that from either workspace as well. It can obviously get all of your requirement docs, it can get all of your projects, it can verify that, it can sync things, so it can actually sync data from Cursor to your workspace and your project as well. So if, for example, you don't want to use the chat, I'll give you another example. So we can just simply delete the MCP by clicking the delete button, and we can just use the URL that we pasted into the terminal earlier and just hit enter. And what it will do is exactly the same thing. Go ahead and install it, and you can see here 13 tools has now been installed. It's that easy. It is now set up and ready to go. So let's just do a quick example of how this works and how we've got this set up. So if I come into my project here, I'm currently working on the note taker Lovable, but if I come back, you can see all of the different projects that I've worked on. These ones down here are CodeSpring. Essentially, these are using the CodeSpring starter kit. If we click on this one, if we zoom in, you can see it's using the Lovable kit on the tech stack. Now, if you decide you want to change the tech stack, you can just start a new conversation in Orchestrator, click on the tech stack, down on the button toolbar, click on Add One to Context, and then you can just use Orchestrator to say, please change this stack to use the CodeSpring starter kit. And then just basically say we are building in Cursor, not Lovable. Okay, and then essentially What that's going to do is Orchestrator is going to read through this tech stack and it's going to just change it and swap everything out and make sure that then it is using the new tech stack. Now, if you do that, you must then go ahead and recreate all of your requirement docs, because all of these requirement docs here, for example, the database one or the back-end requirement doc and the front-end requirement doc are trained on all of your plans for all of your features, but also the tech stack as well. So for the case of this example, I'm just going to keep this simple, and I'm going to come into this project here, which is set up on the CodeSpring tech stack, which is essentially our boilerplate. And if you're looking for the boilerplate and you want to get access to it, just click on the courses, and you can see here we have the boilerplate. Just go ahead and view that and then copy that and download it. And if you want to know how to do that, you can come into the courses, go to the V1 course, and it will show you how to get everything set up with that as well. Okay, so this project here, org project 1, I'm just going to call this transcript analysis. And I'm going to save this project. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the project that you've given, the name you've given the project, oops, I should have pressed save. So we'll do transcript project. And I'm just going to save that. And then you can do Command S on your keyboard and save, or you can click this button down here and save. So if I just refresh, you can see that the project has the name transcript project. Now the reason we've done that is because we're going to use the cursor chat to pull in the data from this project. So if you would like to trial this software as a business, you can go ahead and click the top link down below in the description. You can invite up to 10 different team members. We're going to give you over 100,000 credits. Plus we're going to get on a one-on-one onboarding call with you and I, and we're going to give you a dedicated support channel. If you go ahead and click the link down below in the description, you can go ahead and read a little bit more about it. Usually a business plan would be $9,657 per year. You can try it today 100% risk-free for 7 days for $0. And then once that time is up, if you still don't want to use the software, we'll cancel your subscription. We'll get on a call with you. If you still don't want to use the software, we'll cancel your subscription. But if you do want to keep using it, it's £187 per month, and that's the best deal that we have going at the moment. So if you would like to try it, I definitely recommend grabbing a free trial in the link down below. First thing we need to do is we need to find out, okay, where are we currently working? Are we working in our personal or our organization workspace? You can either do that by clicking up here, or you can come back to the project view, and you can see it says CodeSpring projects here. So this is the organization. I've called my organization CodeSpring for obvious reasons, so yours will have a different name if you're on the business plan. Now we come into the cursor chat, and we can just say, please pull in the PRDs for the, and then what's the name of our project? Is the transcript project. Transcript project. And for this one, I'm just going to use GPT-5 Fast. And what this is basically going to do is it's going to use the CodeSpring MCP. It's going to think about, okay, cool. We've first of all got to go ahead and find a list of all the projects, and then we've got to go into here and we've got to find all of our product requirement docs. So we've got 2 product requirement docs at the moment. And what it's going to do is it's going to have a look and see if it can find all that stuff. So it basically is going to execute these tools here. So over time, we are improving the MCP. We're adding new tools and better stuff for it to do. So what you'll notice sometimes is, if I just go back, I come back onto here, it says 13 tools. Cursor actually automatically updates. So if we build new tools, sometimes what you'll notice is that this will say like 15 tools or 20 tools, for example. Anyway, so you can see here it says found 2 workspaces. We've got the personal and we've got the CodeSpring one. So we're just going to say this project is in the CodeSpring organization workspace. You can hit on enter, and obviously it's then going to go in and find all this data. And what this basically means is you can plan out your project in here, and then once you've planned out your project, Cursor can now pull that information from here. So it makes it very easy for you to sort of build up a plan visually on what you want your app to look like, and then when you're ready to build, you can start building with Cursor. Now you can also start building, you know, a handful of features. You don't have to build all of your features straight away. And then, you know, once I've built, for example, this feature, I can then come into here and I can send data back from Cursor to here. There's a whole load of stuff that we can do, but I just want to get you set up for now. So you can see here, it's going to get all of the projects inside this organization. And right now you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different projects. And then what it's going to do is it's going to find it. So it's found the transcript project here, which is obviously the one we're looking for. Now it's going to get the structure of the whole thing, and then it's going to fetch the product requirement docs for this as well. Okay, so it's going to write the latest versions of each product requirement doc to a folder, and the folder is going to be a .CodeSpring PRDs, and you can see it's just created that up here. So it's created the .CodeSpring /PRDs. We've got the spreadsheet upload database, and then we've got the spreadsheet upload front-end product requirement doc. It's doing the back-end spreadsheet upload mapping. And basically what it's doing is it's taking everything that we've planned in here and it's putting it into our project over here. So the more requirement docs that you generate, then the more, so if we have multiple requirement docs in here, then we'll have multiple requirement docs over here. And all we need to do is just to keep all, and we now have our requirement docs from Cursor. From CodeSpring inside Cursor. Now what we can also do is we can actually do this the other way around, and we could say, for example, let's say I've started building a feature inside Cursor, and this is our app. I could now say, actually, can you add find one of the features that we've built inside this app here, and can you add it to our mind map? So let's just try that now. Pick one feature we've already built, and obviously you would tell it, to be a bit more specific, and add it to our CodeSpring project plan. And I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll do this in the same Cursor chat, because it has up-to-date information. It knows exactly, it's already pulled in the data. It knows exactly what project we're working on. The history is all there. And what this is basically going to do now is Cursor can actually read all of the code inside your app, and it can say, okay, well, we've got, for example, if we go to the APIs, we've got the upload video API, for example, or the video maker API, right? So these are various tools that we've created inside this project here. And what it's going to do is it's going to say, well, out of these tools, out of these features that we've already coded, we're going to pick one, hopefully, and what it's going to do is create a feature over here, and we should get like a feature appear in our mind map as well. I'll fetch the current project mind map to avoid duplicates, and then add the spread chart upload column mapping. So we're going to say here, so please add the video upload feature we've already coded. And what you can do is you can actually tag. So what you can do is you could tag, for example, the upload video here. So we could do upload video, which is that whole folder. So this is an API that I've created, and add it as a new feature inside CodeSpring project. And what's the project called? Transcript project. Inside our transcript project. So here it's found the project ID, and now it's going to run the thing to update the features node, and hopefully what we'll see is a new feature will come in here, and essentially it's going to, I think we'll probably have to refresh. Once that's done, we should see a new feature show up inside our project. Okay, so I just had a note from the developer. We're actually updating this at the moment, so this may not work. Here it says, okay, so it's tried to actually update that. It's created a requirement doc for that feature, but it said it couldn't actually find it. So if you ever get this error, let us know. But what you can also do is you can come into, so this here is the URL for the project. You can actually come here, it says /project/, and then this is the ID for that project. So you can say it's for this project, and you can send that through, see if that debugs the problem. And essentially what we should see is it should add these up. This is a brand new feature. So there's a couple of bugs here and there which we're obviously fixing for you guys. And essentially that then means you have two-way control between your project that you're coding and also what's inside CodeSpring. Now I'll do a more dedicated video to how you can actually do sort of the other way around. Obviously that now means you can put in your project data from what you've planned here into your Cursor project. You have all the requirement docs, and essentially all of that data is then visible inside your project. So if I'm building, if I'm creating something, and I go ahead and I come into here, for example, and I don't know, let's say I have this feature and I add notes, or I decide to change how I want it to work. So I edit this and I write new notes on how I want this feature to work. Then all I need to do is delete my front-end requirement doc, my back-end, and my database requirement doc, and then I just regenerate them based on the new notes that I've taken. If I change anything in the tech stack, then I will obviously go ahead and regenerate my requirement docs, and then I can always come into Cursor and I can say, we've just updated our requirement docs inside our CodeSpring project. Can you swap them out and pull in the latest updates from CodeSpring to have them visible in our Cursor project? Same thing goes the other way around. If I start to build new features in our Cursor project, and those features aren't yet planned out here, I could then go into Cursor and I could say, well, we've built these new additional features, but we haven't got them in our CodeSpring plan. Can you please send them over to our CodeSpring plan as well? And what it would do is it will create a feature with a description and then add requirement docs to that feature for you. But I'll do a more dedicated video on that as well.